there are 7 million people living in this old, dark and dirty city. 7 million stories, 7 million ways to live, 7 million ways to die. Once upon a time, there was a man called Long John.
How are you, Johnny, sweetie?
I'm fine, thank you, Mrs. Robinson.
Actually, his name was John, but he had delusions of, well, anyway. This is the story of how he lived and how he died. John had little in terms of money or friends, but like many men of his age and time, he thought himself respectable enough. He was happy with his little flat, with the cosy furniture and all his pretty paintings on the wall. Every night, when he came home from work at the women's underwear factory, he would sit and relax in front of the television with a nice plate of hot food, and he would watch his beloved women, women that other men could only dream about. Inside these walls, John was afraid of nothing, and was content enough with his life. He would have died a happy man, if he had only died then. But he didn't. When he set out that morning, he little thought of what fate had in store for him.
No, Mrs. Robinson, not now. I'm not that kind of... Oh, God. You're really prepared.
As Mrs. Robinson plunged to her doom, John just stood by and watched, only too happy that it wasn't him. Her broken body lay twisted before him, but he wasn't in the least upset. She had been a pathetic and repulsive woman.
Oh, God. What do you reckon of this? Possible murder weapon?
Let's have a look.
Oh, I'm not ready to die.
Poor John. He had come too close to death. The experience depressed him. He could no longer concentrate, not even on his television. What if people were to laugh at him the way they had at Mrs. Robinson? When he looked in the mirror, he was disgusted by what he saw there. He realized all of a sudden that something would have to change, that he would have to change. After a little shopping spree, where he bought books of philosophy and uplifting classical music, and even a spectacularly elegant suit. He felt sure that now he had erased all the bad things that anyone might ever have thought about him. When he lay on his sofa to rest, his mind wandered, and he imagined his own glorious death and how his beloved women would come to weep and marvel at his beautiful, lifeless body.
I'm not ready to die.
He woke from his reverie. He still had work to do. John cleaned in a frenzy, and with a mad determination that he had never felt before. He cleaned for hours without stopping, not to sleep, not to eat, not even for a toilet break. His flat would be spick and span, depersonalized. He would not suffer the same terrible fate as Mrs. Robinson. But then, as he lay down the vacuum cleaner, he noticed something terrible. He had realized that to win the love and admiration of all, he would be forced to make the ultimate sacrifice. With a heavy heart, but full of hope, John marched out with the assured steps of an Olympian. On the final stretch, yards from victory, he conquered fear at last and rose above his fate. Unfortunately, John broke his neck and was found dead the following morning, where poor, pathetic Mrs. Robinson had also met her fate.